Well, hi guys and gals, it's me George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, and I'm out here in my shop and I have the brand spanking new carburetor. Look at that puppy, huh? And we're going to be putting that back on today. We're going to see if we get this thing running. You've seen me take it apart, and I don't know that you'll learn anything more by watching me put it together. So I'll get it together and then I'll bring it back and we'll see what we got to do to get it started. Got to change the oil on this, and I'm probably going to adjust the valves as well. That's usually a problem with these overhead valve engines. We'll see how it is and how it starts once I get there. So hang on to your hats. Okay guys and gals, we get it all back together. We're going to let it down now and make sure I have anything in front of me and underneath the lift when it goes down. I'm going to let it down and start it. I could start it up in the air, but I don't have full confidence that I've never used this machine before, and I'm not sure, you know, I don't want to take it off when I can't grab hold of it. So, grab an extension cord here. This has an electric start. And I learned a long time ago to work smarter, not harder. So if it's got electric start, why bother to yank and yank and yank on it? And we know it's going to take a little bit of cranking over because the carburetor is empty. So I'll pull this cord out here. And I'll turn the gas on. The ignition switch is in, and I'm only going to give it about half throttle to start it. Plug this in here, and I presume that as long as none of these handles are down, nothing's going to take off. Alright, here we go. We'll get the choke on, and I wonder if I can get the primer, prime a couple of pumps here. It might start right off. I hear some gas gurgling. I just learned something very valuable. To hook this carburetor up, I had to change the throttle rod that came with it because it had a different setup from the original carburetor, and to get that rod in place I had to pull the lever up and off of the governor. And this governor setup does not have a flat on the rod coming up out of the block. It's round, and so you can twist that thing around anywhere you want to go. You know, obviously it's twisted around too far to one side. I didn't realize it when I popped it off, so that means I gotta take the gas tank back off. And I don't know if you could see what I'm pointing at here or not. Let me bring you over. And maybe you're going to want to learn a lesson along with me. the throttle linkage is down underneath here. And so also is the governor linkage. So I got to take the gas tank off, and then there's another plate underneath this, and to get the gas tank off I have to take this off, and there's 3 bolts here. There's 2 bolts there and 2 bolts there for the gas tank. That will lift up. Then there's another plate that just sits underneath there, a plastic one, and then all the linkages down under there. So I guess I should have showed you that in the first place, eh? Let me get my tools back out. I picked them up and put them away already because I thought I was done. So you just hold on to your hats and we will see what we shall see. And rather than you watch me pull all of this apart, I will yank it apart real quick, because I know it would be pretty boring to watch me unscrew screws. And you have to turn the gas on to get that off. Turn it off to get it off, not on. Now I got 2 bolts here. Can you see where I'm pointing? 2 bolts there and 2 bolts over there, and then I can lift the gas tank up. I'll move you over here like this if you promise to behave yourself now. And I'll even raise you up higher so you can look down on it. Okay? Now, can you see this cover here that I'm taking off? This comes off, it's just sitting in there. It has a pin to hold it in place. And there's all of our throttle linkage. Oh. Well, there's more to it than just that governor. That puppy's wanting to fly away. So I've got to do a little more investigation. See if maybe I have to change that throttle rod back. They're both the same length, so it should work. But let me investigate and I'll bring it back. See this tab right here? That thing is bent up. It's at the total wrong angle to go with this. And you watch what happens when I move the throttle. See how it's bending this rod right up? It's not able to push it all the way. Or pull it actually, because of the wrong angle that it's at, and it stops my throttle linkage from coming back all the way too. This should be coming all the way around and coming all the way back here, and it's not letting it come all the way back there. It's better now because I've made a couple of other adjustments. But when I move my throttle, that's fast. When I go back to slow, it still is not going back all the way. It should be going all the way back there to my throttle linkage. And see, this rod down here is bent. And it's because this tab has been twisted. And all this unit down in here was sticking. You see I've put some penetrating oil down in there. But I have to believe that somebody came in here and bent this tab up. I don't think it bent on its own. So we're going to fix that and see if that'll help take care of our super fast idle. This motor will blow up if I let it keep going. Okay, here we are back again. And let me see if I can point out what I have done. I'm not sure if you can see that tab right there. Back here. You can't see it. Let me bring you over here a little bit more. I got you on the tripod because I wanted to be able to use my hands to point. Alright. I have this tab straightened out pretty well now. Where am I? I'm trying to see where you're at. Okay, where I'm at. I have this tab straightened out pretty well right now. And so this rod, while it is still bending a little bit, it is getting all of the travel that it should be getting. And yep, and everything is working as it should be. That's not the only thing that I did. Let me lower the camera back here. And oops, my tripod is drifting on me. I didn't get the leg tightened up. Very unprofessional. It'd be so much nicer if I had somebody else to run the camera for me, hey? All right, so the other thing I did was this spring right here. I actually turned it around backwards and moved it to another place because this is high speed here. And this is what it should do. It should be pulling it that way to get it full throttle. But when it comes back this way, it actually should be pushing against this. This is the governor lever. Here's the governor right here. This is the governor lever, which also controls your throttle over at the carburetor. And this should be pushing this back over here because you have this spring right here that already is pulling the governor to go that way. So everything is pushing towards high-speed throttle, but there's got to be something to push this back and resist these springs so that it will idle down properly. So I turned this spring around so that now this is pushing against here. So if I go to high throttle, it does its job here and pulls that way, okay? When I go back down, excuse me, when I go back down to slow speed, it helps to push because this spring is now pushing against this bracket, which I'm assuming that's the way this was set up like that. So the loop could go through there and it would push against the back. They had it turned the other way around. Somebody had bent this bracket, this tab here, which holds the kill switch, which you probably can't see, which is this contact down in here, and it's a little bit out of your vision, but anyway, take my word for it. And this cam on this lever comes over and it contacts that when it gets down to low speed. Well, it was contacting it quite a ways before it was getting to low speed, so I have bent this back too. And I have set this now so this is on the lower setting so that it won't rev, even when it's cranked all the way up, it won't rev beyond what it should be. So I think everything is working the way it should be now. And let me just do this. I have run it already once. Let me make sure this is tight. Yep, get that tight in there. Let me put this cover on. And everything has to kind of pop into place. Make sure I'm not catching something now. Okay, what am I catching on now? Okay, there we go. Now let me just double check and make sure my throttle is still working the way I want it to. Yep, it goes all the way back to idle and it goes to full throttle. Okay, so I'm going to put it at about half throttle. You set the gas tank back on here. I know this is more than you bargained for. It's more than I bargained for too. Should have been done a long time ago. Let me back you out. Woo! Back you out. Okay, I have this on about half throttle. I have the choke wide open. And let's see. And it only shuts off when you push it all the way over, which is what it should do. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to finish putting it back together and button it up. And now that I have run it a little bit, Not a whole lot, but enough. The oil should be warm enough I can drain the oil out and change it. But as far as you guys are concerned, this project is done. But if you run into one of these, that's a crazy setup down in there. Crazy setup. Why they make things so difficult and so complicated. I mean, it used to be you had one rod that went from your governor lever to the carburetor, and you adjusted most everything at the carburetor, or you could move your spring to a different spot on the governor rod. They make things so complicated. It's not better, it's more complicated, more things to go wrong, more trouble to cause for people along the way. Anyway, that's me and my rant for today. I'm going to put it all back together once I get the oil changed. I already checked the tire pressure. I'll bring you back and I'll have it down on the ground and show you that it actually works the way it should. Bye for now. Okay, so the real test is, will it start with a pull start? Of course, it's not a cold start because it's been running and I just changed the oil. But I'm going to start it with pull start and back it out of here. Well, there you have it. Now all I gotta do is call the customer and tell them to come pick it up.